Houston copies, visor, config complete.
All right, they're all zipped up. And this config
All
also
communications switch to channel 1. All personnel and visitors remain in present position until launch. Maintain operational silence in the LCC.
So, Lauren, that's kind of
the LC with a terminal count briefing. If a condition exceeds the launch constraint anytime after the terminal count status check, the observer shall announce hold, hold, hold on channel 1, identify their station, and briefly state the reason for the hold.
So, Lauren, we just heard a couple of our standard pre-launch announcements. During the countdown, the individual teams, so think of the Atlas propulsion team and the Centaur propulsion team, are off working on separate nets as they perform their functions. All that work is complete, and so essentially what that last announcement does is bring the entire team back to the primary command channel, net 1, loop 1 as we call it, and the rest of the countdown will now be conducted on net 1,
Roger.
and we'll all kind of hear that together.
18 minutes.
Also, at this point, our operators are going to be heads down.
Verification.
Roger.
And so the only conversation in the LCC from this point forward is just going to be the working through the launch procedures. There'll be no other ancillary conversation whatsoever.
And we'll also be listening to some of those side channels that aren't public on your TV screen right now. So we'll be listening for a few polls, one that's called the Starliner Readiness Poll for terminal count. And that is one of the shorter polls, and it will be coming from the Boeing Mission Control Center, or we call it the BMCC here in Florida. The spacecraft launch conductor, Brian Gardner, will poll people in that room in charge of the propulsion system and power and many other subsystems. He will have 3 call-outs to him.
minus 17 minutes.
OSM, place SRB ignition SNA switch to the enable position.
SRB ignition enabled.
And verify FCO, RCO, and OSM hold fire switches are in the proceed position.
Ready to proceed.
Launch on time verified.
Roger.
And
LCP-1.
Go ahead.
AHB charging reestablish and at flight mass.
Roger.
so, Lauren, we're quickly coming to the end now of the launch vehicle pre-launch procedure, and we're just about 7 minutes away from our terminal count status check. But we heard a couple of call-outs there. That one of the range safety representatives activated the SRB ignition enable, so that allows us to fire the SRB ordnance circuits that ignite the SRBs at T0. Those circuits are not enabled till just as we heard, just a few moments ago.
minus 16 minutes.
And also another range safety system is the hold fire system. So there are remote switches at the Space Launch Delta 45 Morel Operations Center up the road. And if any of the range safety representatives see an issue, they can press a button and stop our countdown remotely. So those switches have been enabled as well.
All right, you are taking a live look at Atlas V and Starliner stacked on top with astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams inside, ready to go to space. We are just coming up on about 15 minutes from launch, and we are going to send it over to NASA's Daryl Nell at Hangar AE. Daryl.
Thank you very much, Lauren. And you've heard the polls from ULA, also polling a go. The NASA operations manager, Richard Jones, checked with his team, gave them the go. As far as weather is concerned, you heard it mentioned on the nets, there was an L minus 30 weather brief.
We see your CMS Central. That's just to do with the internal power transition. No action.
Okay, no action. We got a soup fan DP low. It's back on now.
Looking.
No issue there. But again, the weather, 90% go. No concern. We're expected to be go for T0. We are go right now. Green across the board. We do have some high cirrus clouds that you can see there up in the upper parts of the sky. And you can see the ground winds.
LC flight, channel 1 and air to ground 1 are now merged, going to air to ground 1.
Roger.
LC flight, air to ground 1, ready for comm check with Starliner and channel 1.
Roger. Starliner, LC, comm check on channel 1.
LC LC, we got you loud and clear. Looks like we got all suit fans failed a warning.
Butch Wilmore.
And I copied your comm check, Starliner. In Capcom, did you catch that message?
And Starliner and LC Capcom A-firm, we see the messages. We're working, more to follow. Stand by.
Standing by.
Butch Wilmore has a warning light on his console. He's talking it over with Capcom. While they do that,
Starliner, visors open, please, while we work the suit fans. Visors open.
so they're going to have the astronauts open their visors
All right, visors are open.
while they work into
I'm
issue
pretty
with them.
quiet, Houston, but suit fan Bravo went down and switched to Alpha. It had a DP low, and then it, of course, went off. We still show power to Alpha is on.
Working an issue with the
Houston
suit.
copies.
minus 13 minutes.
And Starliner, we showed the same for your info. We're swapping suit fans back to Bravo. Continue to stand by for us.
Standing by.
So the issue here is a problem with the primary suit fan operation. They got to have that suit fan to keep the air circulating inside their suits. With that having a warning, they've asked, Capcom has asked the astronauts to pop open their visors so they can get some fresh air, and they'll work it into a redundant mode, going into a redundant suit fan. So they continue to work that. As we get under T-minus 12 minutes and counting. The Boeing team working an issue in real time right now.
LC Flight Channel 1.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the condition we're in an LCT condition with both suit fans down. We're trying to get these reactivated, but we're going to proceed.
Roger. So good to stow the crew access arm.
I'm go.
Roger.
All right, the team continuing to work the suit fan issue. Again, just to recap on weather, we're go. And now we're looking to take the next steps. So we'll send it back to Megan, Mike, and Dee.
Minus 11 minutes.
As you just
Arm
heard there,
control,
11
so the
minutes
correct
to liftoff.
Roger.
From only the 6th-time NASA astronauts will launch on a new spacecraft designed for crew. I want to ask you really quick before we toss it over for that terminal count, the final moments of the countdown. How are you guys feeling?
Feeling great, excited, making sure teams work to troubleshoot the last little bit, and hopefully we'll see liftoff today.
I'm very excited for Butch and Sunny, and as we like to say, go Atlas, go Centaur, go Starliner.
Go Butch and Sunny, that's right. All right, so let's send it over to the ASOC where Lauren and Dylan will walk us through the final moments of the countdown.
All right, thank you, Megan. So what we are looking for next here is that crew access arm to start making its way back over.
Starliner, on our end, we brought suit fan Bravo back on. It looked good. We need both. We need to prove that A is also there, so we're commanding Alpha on and then off at this time. More to follow.
All right.
Yep, we see it. And we're still visors up, so you know.
All right.
So you hear this troubleshooting happening in real time. They are moving forward with everything else while they troubleshoot
Flight
that
verify CST
suit
100
pan.
on internal power.
Verified.
Starliner, configure ordnance for launch.
Nothing works.
Starliner on internal power now. The spacecraft is running completely on its own. Ordnance has also been configured for launch. That
LC Flight
means
Channel
the
1.
devices that initiate our separation
Yeah, we
events.
reactivated suit fan Bravo. Suit fan Alpha is also working to a clear LCC condition. And for the crew, you can take visors down.
Visors down and ordnance configured.
LC copies both.
All right, it's got to feel good to put those visors down now.
So, Lauren, we were seeing that big visual cue, the crew access arm retracting. It takes about 2 minutes to retract and stow 120 degrees away from Starliner back against the crew access tower. In the event of an emergency, it can be redeployed in less than 15 seconds.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. We don't want to see it do that, but we're glad it can if it needs to. And we have a couple of polls coming up here in about 2 minutes. The launch vehicle poll, launch vehicle management poll.
Yeah, Lauren, that's right at L-8 minutes. Next door to us in the Mission Director Center, that's going to be the mission management team poll for launch. And at L-7 minutes, the final terminal count status check down in the LCC. And that is where Chief Launch Director Doug Lebo will poll his team, verify their readiness, and then the launch director next door to us will give him permission to launch today.
LC arm control.
Go ahead.
Crew access arm stowed for launch.
Roger.
All right, the crew access arm is stowed.
LC switch to ready position.
Everything looking good?
All steps are complete prior to status check.
And Dylan and I will be a little more quiet as we get closer here to launch so we can listen in to all of the actions as they're happening in real time. Again, just under 7.5 minutes till Starliner astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams make history as the first crew headed to the International Space Station on Boeing Starliner.
L-7 minutes.
Status check to proceed with terminal count, Atlas systems, propulsion,
Go.
hydraulics,
Go.
pneumatics,
Go.
LO2,
Go.
water,
Go.
sensor systems, propulsion,
Go.
pneumatics,
Go.
LO2,
Go.
LH2,
Go.
has gas,
Go.
electrical systems, airborne,
Go.
ground,
Go.
facility,
Go.
RFFTS,
Go.
flight control,
Go.
GCQ,
Go.
op support,
Go.
comm,
Go.
umbilicals,
Go.
arm control,
Go.
ECS,
Go.
redline monitor,
Go.
quality,
Go.
op safety manager,
Go.
ULA safety officer,
Go.
vehicle system engineer,
Go.
anomaly chief,
Go.
range coordinator,
Clear to proceed.
flight director,
Houston flight is go.
Starliner,
Starliner, go.
launch director,
You have permission to launch.
proceeding with the count. ALC, verify T0 is set for 16:25:40 Zulu.
Verified.
Starliner net is clear.
Thank you, LC. To all of you sitting on console, whether you're in Houston, BMCC, ASOC, Atlas, this is a great day to be proud of your nation. And all of you listening as well, whether you're at Banana Creek or the Causeway or the rooftop of LCC or the ASOC, and other places around our nation, like the Bay Area building and other places where you are viewing what's taking place. Again, for you, it's a great day to be proud of your nation, great day to be proud of Boeing, great day to be proud of ULA and NASA. And we are one nation under God, indivisible. And when we together use the power of that combination, we can do some pretty amazing things. So LC, with that, we are ready to put some fire in this rocket and propel this spacecraft to the International Space Station, where all these fine Americans have designed and have prepared it to be.
Calypso, take us to space and back.
Roger, Starliner.
LC flight, Starliner configured for terminal count.
Roger. All steps are complete prior to terminal count.
And with that, we are ready to go to space, Lauren.
Hard not to be emotional listening to those words from Butch. I'm sure we'll be Playing that speech back for a long time.
Will be T-minus 4 minutes and counting. 3, 2, 1, mark. .355.
Ground pyros enabled.
Launch pad ordnance circuits are now enabled.
Hold, hold, hold. Flight control received to CCLS. Hold it. Approximately T-minus 350.
LC switch not ready. All personnel turn to recycle section. Operation 80. LC switch is not ready. Clock stopped at T-minus 3 minutes 50 seconds. Starliner, you should not hear any vent at this point.
Starliner standing by.
ALC, reset countdown clock to T-minus 4 minutes and holding.
Active. LC Puny 2.
Go ahead.
Centaur tank pressures are stable.
Roger.
LC Peony 1.
Go ahead.
Atlas tank pressures are stable.
Roger. OSM, place SRB ignition SNA switch to disabled position.
SRB ignition disabled.
Okay, consoles, step 60, report launch vehicle status. Atlas lead.
Atlas tank pressures and helium bottles stable. Atlas propulsion system stable.
Roger. Centaur lead.
Centaur tank pressures and helium bottles stable. Centaur propulsion system stable. Has gas readings nominal.
Roger. Vehicle electrical. VE channel 1.
Avionics system stable.
Roger. And LC can verify no indications of hazards. Flight LC.
LC Starliner systems are stable.
Roger. Starliner, last arm switch to off.
Last arm switches off.
FCS in pre-flight mode, SSVAPs inactive, OCU safe, and EDS in test mode.
Roger. Arm control, deploy the crew access arm.
Roger.
Starliner, proceed with ordnance deactivation.
Passing one. Ordnance deconfigured. All off.
Roger.
LC.
And go ahead, ALC.
Countdown clocks reset, T-minus 4 minutes and holding.
Roger. Flight, verify CST 100 ordnance is safe.
Verified.
Okay, all stations, recycle systems back to T-minus 4 and holding configuration. Hold time occurred at T-minus 3 minutes 50 seconds. Report status at completion. And flight LC.
LC.
CST 100 power to external.
Copy, we'll put it in work.
LC Loxon.
Go ahead.
Subset Bravo, Atlas Pillar 2, continuing topping.
Roger.
LC Lox 2.
Go ahead.
Substep Golf, Centaur LO2, continuing topping.
Roger.
LC Field 2.
Go ahead.
Centaur LH2, continuing topping.
Roger.
LC 1.
Go ahead, Peony 1.
Atlas Pneumatics, pressure stable.
Roger.
LC, Peony 2.
Go ahead.
Substep Echo, CEC active.
Roger.
And substep Foxtrot, sensor pneumatic system stable.
Roger.
LC, prop 1.
Go ahead.
Substep Charlie and substep Delta, Atlas propulsion and hydraulic system stable.
Roger.
LC, ECS.
Go ahead.
Substep November, ECS set point stable.
Roger.
LC, this flight control.
Go ahead.
Substep Kilo, flight control ready.
Roger. If you're just joining us here at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, go ahead.
True axis arm is deployed.
Roger.
We did have a automatic hold of our ground launch sequencer shortly after we began our terminal count for today's launch attempt. No indication yet as to what caused that hold of the automatic ground launch sequencer. The team is still evaluating data. In the meantime, the team is active recycling the vehicle to a good holding state so that we can prepare for our next steps. But for now,
Roger.
We are holding at T-minus 4 minutes, recycling the vehicle after a hold of our ground launch sequencer shortly after picking up terminal count for today's launch opportunity.
LC has gas. Go has gas. Substep Hotel has gas, normal scan pattern including cat. Roger.
And flight LC. Channel 1.
Flight. Yes.
Roger. Secure CST-100 prop system. Last valve to remain open.
Right, flight copies. Probably take us at least 5 minutes here.
Yeah, copy.
We're going to send it over to NASA's Daryl Nail over at Hangar AE for some continuing coverage of our current
FTS
status.
LC.
Daryl?
Thanks, Dylan. And I'm listening to the NASA operations manager's loop.
Recycle status.
Recycle.
Roger. SYS LC.
Yes, LC, GC30 is ready.
Roger.
As you mentioned, the ULA team now safing the vehicle, making sure all the high energy systems that were prepared to launch are now put into a safe configuration. At 12:21 p.m., roughly T-minus 3 minutes and 39 seconds, we got a hold.
Launch Director, LC Channel 1.
LDM1.
Yes, sir. So we had a hold call at T-minus 3 minutes and 50 seconds by the CCLS launch sequencer. So at this time, we've completed our recycle back to T-minus 4 and holding configuration and ready to proceed with a scrub crew egress operation.
Yeah, roger that. Stand by.
Roger.
There you heard confirmation of the scrub call for this launch attempt today. Again, this was the ground launch sequencer, essentially the computer that launches.
LC.
Roger.
This is the computer that is
Okay,
in
all
charge.
personnel going to Operation 85. OSM, LC.
OSM.
Establish the BDA roadblocks and open the flight hazard area.
Roger.
And all personnel on Channel 1 will be starting an approximate 65-minute hold at this time for flight crew egress. All systems maintain T-minus 4 and holding configuration.
The hold time is not relevant at this point. The fact is they're getting it into a state where they can go through and get the crew out of the spacecraft. But I was mentioning the computer. This is the computer that when we go into terminal count, launches the rocket, brings a number of systems and a huge number of operations all at a rapid pace. Something with the GLS, it's not understood at this time what it is, caused the GLS to throw an automatic holdout at T-minus 3 minutes and 50 seconds.
Arm control.
Yeah, per step 40, can you give me that call out on the status of the crew access arm?
Crew access arm deployed and latched. Arm control is terminated, ready for personnel access.
Roger. And FELC?
Go ahead.
Start CAT TVM system monitoring.
Roger.
RLM, LC?
RLM 11.
Disable RLM line items for crew egress per red line report.
Roger.
LCFE.
Go ahead.
CAT TVM system enabled. Readings nominal.
Roger.
The NASA operations manager now conveying to his team that they are looking at possibly a 24-hour turnaround.
Go ahead, flight.
Yeah, CST 100's on ground power.
Roger.
Of course, there'll be a lot of data to look at, but
And flight LC.
LC, go ahead.
Yeah, just looking for your estimate for prop system securing, to support pad entry.
Need 5 more minutes.
Roger. Thank you.
everything you're hearing now is about getting the crew, which is the primary focus at this moment by the launch team, out of the spacecraft and back on the ground. So configuring the crew access arm, it's locked in. Continue to do the operations which are in their schedule for a launch scrub, moving through those methodically. The report out that we heard by the CGLS was that at the time of the scrub, when the hold was listed, it didn't appear to load into the proper configuration. ULA will work to try to understand the cause behind that. They don't know that at this time. They'll be studying the data. NASA's commercial crew team will be right there with them, helping and assisting throughout this process. So we can see on the views here inside Hangar AE that they have the crew access arm back locked into the Starliner. You can see that on your screen there. Essentially the team now working Just to recap, if you're just joining us at 12:21 p.m. Eastern Time, T-minus 3 minutes and 50 seconds until liftoff. A hold was given by the ULA launch team, an automatic hold that was issued by the ground launch sequencer, the computer that takes over terminal count. The reason for that hold is not known at this time. The focus now by the launch team is to make sure the rocket is in a good and safe configuration. That's many of the calls that you're hearing out. And also that they, once it is safe enough, that they get the crew of Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, have them exit the spacecraft, come back down the elevators, and head back to crew quarters. I want to bring in United Launch Alliance commentator Dylan Rice.
System stable.
Pneumatic.
And yeah, Daryl, the team continues to work through the process to establish a stable configuration so that we can start pulling the crew off of the Starliner capsule. Still no update yet in terms of what caused the ground launch sequencer abort, but just like loading the crew, we establish a safe and stable configuration with the launch vehicle before we begin the egress process, and the configurations are very close to the same actually. We'll be maintaining the propellant systems in a topping mode and not changing the state of the Atlas or Centaur as we go through the approximate 1 hour process of egressing Butch and Sonny from the Starliner capsule. but teams are continuing to evaluate the data and look into the cause of the ground launch sequencer abort. In the meantime, we will start to see indications that the team is re-entering the pad. And in fact, the direction was just given to allow the blue team back into the pad. So we will start to see that activity now, and teams come back into the pad, back up the tower, and begin the process of opening up Starliner and egressing Butch and Sunny.
Yeah, so that's a good sign there. You mentioned with the blue team coming back to the pad, they are the ones that will pull the crew out of Starliner. We heard that the pad area is cleared for them to come in. It's a good sign. Dylan, what's your time estimation on the team going through the rest of their procedures to make sure that the crew can go ahead and get up the elevator?
Actually, I think that we're there. So it's been just about 20 minutes since the hold was called, and in that 20 minutes time, we've established those configurations. In fact, we don't even let the pad team come back to the fence line until those safe and stable configurations have been established. So, once the team will of course be standing by at the fallback area, and they were contacted via radio and told to proceed back to the gate, and they will proceed through the gate and right back up to the crew access tower and on up to level 12, where they can begin configuring the white room. So we are there at this point in terms of being ready to redeploy the environmental seal, which kind of encloses the Starliner door into the white room, and then we'll begin opening up Starliner so that we can egress Butch and Sunny.
Yeah, we can see from this shot here that environmental seal is not on. Of course, this is the configuration right before you move the crew access arm either away or back to the capsule. So you can see the open air between the white room and the crew capsule. That will take the blue team, of course, getting up to the white room to put that environmental seal in place, which they are on the way. I'm monitoring some of the camera feeds. They haven't arrived yet, but they are on their way, as we've heard from the loops. Dylan, just give us an idea of the role the ground launch sequencer plays in the final 10 minutes of terminal count.
So essentially, the launch sequencer is performing all the actions that are occurring during the terminal count. So you will hear our operators provide status of the terminal count, but those operators are not actually performing manual actions. They're just reporting on the actions of the ground launch sequencer. So, for instance, the vehicle propellant tanks will transition from a topping mode into a pressurization mode as they are pressurized to their flight pressure. Once the tanks are pressurized, we'll start to configure the avionics systems as well for launch, and ultimately hand over to from the ground computer to the flight computer.